out for the season with his shoulder. And then leading up to the coronavirus quarantine, it was like Tarasenko's coming back. He's for Richard's benefit, he's the Blues' best goal scorer. Missed him all season. And everybody was saying he's ready to come back. He's ready to come back. It was confirmed that he was good to go. And then like 2 days later, it's like the NHL suspended operations.
This could be very good timing for you guys.
If it happens. And if not, it just means the Blues are the Stanley Cup reigning champions an extra year. That's okay.
They should totally celebrate that.
The
Blues once again.
Raising a second banner to troll the rest of the league. That would be so fucking funny.
That would be great.
Yeah, they would get fined or whatever, but who cares? That's funny. So yeah, that I hope sports comes back, but this is not going to be over for way longer than I think most people are anticipating. Like,
I think it's going to be
Trump
long
saying his shit. Like, we're going to get the economy rolling next week. Everybody's going to be back in their little comfy office cubicles in their seats.
We rip on Biden and his dumbassery, and Trump is like, I think that everyone should be in churches. Imagine that. Easter's a special day to me. Pack the churches with people. It's a beautiful date. And they're like, why would you have everyone go back? You think that the virus will pass? He said, I just think it's a beautiful date. It's beautiful. It will be beautiful. That date is beautiful.
Everything he says is about making the stock market better and not about protecting the
Trump is not the bar that we use to judge our candidates.
They're going against each other.
Yeah, and Biden isn't half as funny.
I know, but when you choose your Democratic candidate, you can't be like, well, I mean, as long as we can get above the Trump bar,
if you're making
fine. This guy's good, right? He's here at mostly there most of the time. That's good enough, right? No,
I'm with you. I think they should both get corona, and Buttigieg should make his comeback.
Boo to that guy. Go back to South Bend.
They might find you. Here's the only problem: they're going to find a cure for corona. AIDS is a long way down the road, Woody.
I mean, Magic Johnson disagrees. So
that's just mean-spirited is all that is.
Hey, he's a monogamous gay man. A nice unicorn. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm just so interested in this corona shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's growing so quickly.
How do we know?
And because I'm just going by our testing.
They got a lot of tests in California.
They finally started testing a ton in the last few days.
Okay.
Like when I do have to drive to the store or drive out and do something, like I see test kits, like little stations everywhere. Like I've driven by like probably a dozen of them. Usually not too busy.
Really?
And apparently, so you know how Trump was saying like, and this test. No, we talked about this on PKA.
It's the best.
Yeah, the test that you have to jam it up your nose.
Yep.
Like past a barrier.
Yep.
So I just can imagine all the old people. Yeah, like it has to go past some sort of sphincter. That's not the right word.
Yeah, the nasal
past
cloaca.
some sort of thing.
It's called.
It has to go through the nasal cloaca.
It's your nasal hymen, I think.
And mine's never been popped, and so I'm afraid. It's like
mine has been ravished.
Sorry about that.
I just feel like there's got to be somebody who pulled up.
It's this long, but like a pencil.
That's what it's like.
Like an anteater's tongue.
I want to know everybody's prediction for, and it's obviously any kind of death toll predictions are going to be based on the numbers they have, which are going to be way under the reality of it.
Yeah.
So, what do you guys think? Let's say 1 month from now, April 26th. What will the U.S. death total be? Right now, we're at.
I don't know. It's impossible to say.
I know that's why it's a guess.
No, it's easy to say. It's impossible to get right.
Oh, yeah. Good point. Good point.
Yeah.
We're not about getting
too
right.
ignorant to speculate for me.
Yeah, I don't know.
1,290
Richard,
deaths.
you're not new on this show. There's no such thing as too ignorant to speculate. You should know better.
Yeah, fucking 20 million.
Now you're talking.
Yeah, no, it's 20 million.
I'm gonna hold on. Let me look at this.
No calculators.
It's not really a calculator.
I'm gonna say 25,000 deaths a month from now.
A month.
Well,
I'm going with
okay, well, I'll take the under.
2,996. 2,996 deaths. That's equal to 9/11.
Well, I mean, we're already at 1,290, and this is a month from now, so I think it's going to be a little more than that.
Jesus Christ.
And it's raising exponentially. Of that 1,290, 270 happened
Dublin rate
today.
3 to
I
4
have
days.
faith in our administration to underreport.
I do not. You know what? Like the biggest eye-opening thing for this is like, hey, we got to bring a lot of manufacturing back to the US. We can't have a little virus happen and then suddenly like, well, you know, that country that we harp on all the time, well, they make all of our medicine and they're prioritizing their own needs as they should as a country. You know, like we need to bring all that back here. We can't have a medical emergency and not have the capacity to manufacture what we need. That's insane.
Imagine it was real wartime, right?
Yeah, we'd be fucked.
Yeah, what manufacturing do we have if we needed?
I mean, that's the story of World War II, right?
Right.
Well, that's the what's the
except we
Defense
had
Act?
manufacturing.
Yeah, we had the best manufacturing.
The best manufacturing. Well, maybe second best. Germany was pretty good.
Wait, are we on different sides of this, Kyle?
Oh yeah, completely different sides. We were way behind. We were way behind. Like they tooled up and everybody went to work. And
we caught up quickly though.
No, okay,
incredibly quickly.
So my impression of it, and I'm not a World War II historian, so maybe you'll correct me.
I am.
Cool. But maybe I'll be corrected. Was that there was a lot of manufacturing in America that we were able to easily convert into a war machine. So automobile manufacturers started making planes and tanks and things like that. Now we cannot easily convert our services industry into building things that commit war.
You tell me that Deborah at Starbucks can't make tank shells? Please.
I'm saying that you can't convert a Starbucks into a tank shell manufactory in the
I've got
same
an
way.
armor-piercing sabo for Marcus.
A low-fat blended.
Yeah. So before
Soy?
we had manufacturing, we had steel, we had automobile manufacturing, we had all these manufacturing jobs, skills, and facilities that were similar to the kinds of things you'd need to wage war. Now we don't. Now we have, I don't know, IT.
Yeah.
There were a lot of
Isn't
things
it
we
a
built
bit-
from the
yeah.
ground up. You know, the uranium refinement facility in Tennessee and out at Los Alamos. You know, those things were just from the ground up, enormous, colossal facilities that they just. America went to work. Everybody did. You know, you see those old. Was it Rosie the Riveter?
Mm-hmm.
That was a real thing. You know, like everybody went to fucking work and really got to like pulled together and got shit done. And I think that's a human thing, not necessarily just an American thing, but we're just a great example of it. So,
Well, we need to bring that manufacturing back here now before the next one of these worst things happens.
yeah, I'm sure we'll be able to compete on a global scale with all the benefits.
Who cares if we have to pay more for our goods? It's better than having to fucking rely on other countries that with like if this shit were 5 times worse. You think we'd be getting supplies from any other country, any sort of aid? Of course not. Like we don't want to be up shit creek the next time one of these things inevitably happens or a worse one inevitably happens. You know, like we need to be manufacturing these essentials here in the US so we have our bases covered.
Which essential specifically though? Are you referring to the masks?
Well, specifically things from anything medically related. You know, respirators, ventilators, masks, the overwhelming majority of prescription pills, things like that. Like those need to be made here.
I feel like any good business, much like we were talking about earlier, when it comes to like their cash flow, the supply chain needs to have contingencies too. So you have to take into account your shareholders and everything. So you got to have a way to keep your profits up. And for unfortunately, a lot of companies, that's 100% of their supply chain coming from foreign countries and then bringing it here to the States and putting their label on it and being like, okay, here we go. That's the greatest way for profit. But like as soon as that gets interrupted, be it from a global pandemic or it could be some type of tariff or trade war, you gotta have to have contingency. So like that's why like buy American made, you know, 100% American made might be too expensive for a lot of people. So it's like, what are these formulas that, you know, companies need to figure out where it's like you can have a profitable business, but it also is either recession proof or supply chain disruption proof and have contingencies and stuff. And I just think that's one of the things we're finding out is you're catching a lot of businesses offsides, either with poor financial planning or poor strategic and supply chain or reserves.
It's weird to me that the benefits of being local, right? Like there are costs associated with working in 2 different time zones, wildly different time zones like America and China. There are costs associated with taking that stuff, putting it on a boat or an airplane or whatever, and shipping it over to America, flying or sailing it here. There's savings to be associated with the manpower, but isn't this stuff automated? Why is it that the improvements and efficiencies can't be offset by higher labor costs when it's really robots making this stuff.
I don't think it is robots a
know.
lot of the times. I think a lot of our goods are still being fucking hammered together by Chinese peasants in those
I had
factories.
prescription pills in my head when I said that.
Mhm.
Are they really
Okay,
just
well,
people?
that's a
like-
good example of probably taxes, right? It's some sort of tax situation.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I would have to imagine that would have to be like because why wouldn't we just have like I've seen those machines like they're incredibly automated. It's like watching how it's made and watching Twinkies come off the assembly line. There's nobody in there fucking squeezing filling in them. It's
And again, I'm ignorant on it, but I would speculate that like in the U.S. there would be really strict, stringent like I don't know rules and sanitation on a facility that manufactures something that would be pharmaceutical grade, whereas there they may just test the stuff for purity when it comes into the States, and if it meets a certain standard, then there you go. We don't care
Yeah.
what your facility's like.
That's where I want like safety, like anything we're putting into our bodies, like I don't mind, frankly, if there's some children in a foreign country who lose a finger every other day because and it gets me my like tools
That's
and
only a
dye
20-day
stuff
worker,
a little bit
so.
faster, right? Like you know, like he didn't need all those fingers anyway. You got 10. All right, it only takes 2 or 3 to you need 1 to push a button. He's good.
Well, that goes
Right?
to the